friends, this is the Cryptonian taking a look at Bitcoin and taking a look at a few of the altcoins. You can see here that altcoin is at currently at 29,776 and testing the 200 moving average on the 4 hour. And I've talked about this before. This 200 moving average would come into play and play a role. And here we are. It is now playing a role. Price is trying to find support off of the 200. But before we get into that, let's take a look at our statistics in the window here. RSI 35. 35 is pretty weak, and we're getting into an oversold condition. EMA, the EMA trend is bearish. We have flipped bearish, and we can see that by the cloud here. Okay, and then the DMA trend, of course, is bearish, and this is the one that flips back and forth, especially like in consolidation, right? But what's important is this EMA trend here. This is showing more of a longer term trend, bearish. We are in contraction without a reversal, and we are currently under the daily pivot, right? So this is looking a bit bearish. So let's take a look at our expansion contraction, and you can see that we're in contraction. Okay, we're in contraction, and here is our previous move showing expansion to the downside, right? And so where we see the background on our Cryptonian volatility mod, the background is light blue. That is a powerful, that's a more powerful move, right? And so we saw that whenever this took place, the majority of the move was down, right? And so now we're in contraction. So this is looking a bit weak, guys. This is looking a little bit on the bearish side. And you can see also in the past our support line coming in at 29,877. When in the past we spent only very little time under that line, and we were bought up pretty quickly, right? However, that's not the case right now. Right now, this is the second time that we're under the line. We're testing the 200 moving average. And so remember, once we move below that 200 moving average, now we're bearish, right? And this is what I talked about before in previous videos, is that this 200 moving average will cause a decision for Bitcoin. And right now, Bitcoin is testing it. And so we could have another move to the upside. And if that move is not very strong and we come right back down, then most likely we will be losing this range. Okay. Now, why are we kind of seeing a little bit more time spent under that consolidation line? Well, on the weekly, right? Here's the weekly. We talked about this before. On the weekly, we see that we had this last week, we had a closure, a bearish closure on this candlestick was a gravestone. A gravestone is typically a reversal signal, and typically the gravestone is a sign of distribution, right? It's bearish, and usually that signals the top of a trend to the upside or to the upside, right? So that being said, you can see that. Let's move this down a little bit here. Let's do this. I want to show you some Elliott wave patterns here. So in Elliott wave theory, you have usually five waves, right? 3 impulsive waves to the upside, 2 corrective waves to the downside. And look at this. On the weekly, that's what we see. We see a impulsive wave, number 1 to the upside, corrective wave, number 2 to the downside, impulsive wave, number 3, which is to the upside, and usually that's the highest, longest, strongest wave. The longest and strongest wave, not necessarily the highest in price. And then you see the corrective number 4, and then you have a weaker 5, which brings you a little bit higher or around the same area as number 3. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, right? So this is, in my opinion, looking like a top, a local top, right? And we could see lower prices from here. We just have to wait and see if it how it plays out, right? That being said, on the weekly, where if this does break and we do come back down, where are those potential price areas where we could find support? Well, we have a fib right here. We have a fib at 28,090. Okay, we have a fib right there, and then we have a 50 moving average on the weekly here at 26.7, which is right here at the bottom of this ascending channel. Now, one thing about ascending channels, and I've said this before, ascending channels are bearish. Ascending channels are bearish. Ascending channels do not go on forever. Ascending channels usually break down and then, somewhere to either if the market's really bullish, 0.6 fib uh, support zone, or maybe something like right here, the 200. So, but they do break down. Now, the reason why this channel may not break down as much as a normal channel is because, well, we've had a huge bear market, right? And so we could actually just kind of break down, find support at 26, or even support here at the 200 moving average at 24, and then move higher like that and go sideways. That's very possible. If this really truly is a reversal, okay, if this really truly is a reversal from the bear market to the first phase of the bull market, then then that's probably what we would expect, is some type of sideways consolidation here, and that would go sideways probably into next year, and then we would commence higher moves to the upside sometime probably towards the end of the year or the beginning of the next year, Q1 of next year. Now, that being said, let's go back to daily. Excuse me. Let's go back to the daily here. Now, we don't have to break down. We could continue to go sideways for some time. But like I said, it is looking a bit bearish on the weekly. And so, and it does look like, for the time being right now, it does look like we are losing that volume node. Now, why are these volume nodes important? Why do I mention them? Why do I pay attention to them? Well, the reason is if we start coming down, right? Start coming down lower prices, all of the buyers in this area where this volume is could be selling, then that would push price down lower. And so that's why it's significant, right? So if we start losing the 30, where the 30 is being tested right now, and usually that support in a bull trend, that's usually support and people buy there. If we start losing that and come down to the 50, come down even lower than that, testing the lower boundary of that ascending channel, then a lot of these people would start selling, or could start selling. Here, if we lose this area, those could start selling. And so you can see it's kind of a self-perpetuating cycle which pushes prices down, right? Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm just saying that's kind of how that works, and that's why I pay attention to the volume traded at all of these levels, right? So, that being said, if we lose this downside support, first downside support is going to be at 29,250, around here, okay? Second area of support probably around 28,300, 28,300, and that's going to be 28,300. That's going to be at this fib level here, but most likely we would come down and test the support line of this ascending channel, and that's going to be around 20, let's see, around 27,300. 27,300. Okay. And then if that breaks, we could actually come down and test the 200 moving average on the daily, which is 26,600. 26,600. Okay. So that being said, we're at a critical area here. We need to see buyers come in. It's still early in the week, right? I mean, it's what, Tuesday, so it's only the 18th Tuesday, so we could see some buyers come in, and we could see a move higher. Now, that next move is really going to tell us whether we're going to hold this range or not, right? So if we have a move to the upside that's really weak and then start to come back down and test this again, chances are we're going to start seeing downside pressure, and we're going to start seeing lower prices. That being said, RSI 49 on the daily now. The RSI is 49 on Bitcoin, and 49 is right around the midpoint. So, 49 is a hair bearish. Below 50 is bearish. Above 50 is bullish. EMA trend still intact. So, the EMA trend right now is still bullish. And so if Bitcoin holds this, then it's, no harm, no foul, no concerns for a while, right? Again, the macro structure is indicating that this is a top, right? And so the Elliott wave structure is showing that this is a top on the weekly, and the weekly is more significant than the daily or smaller time frames. That being said, we do see that we are in expansion. Let's take a look here at our expansion move. Yep. Okay. So this is interesting, guys. We just entered expansion. We just entered expansion, which means volatility is increasing, and that expansion is to the downside on this one candle. There's not really enough price action to get an idea of where this is going as far as that goes, but you can see here on our Cryptonian volatility mod, we went up and we were blue, and then it turned color, and this put us into a yellow reversal, right? And that yellow reversal was from about here to about here, and we went sideways while volatility was falling down. Now we turned blue from here to here, and we're going down. So this could be accelerating the downside pressure. All right. So I would not be surprised if this breaks down and sees lower prices. And it's probably going to be some type of a slow fade to the downside, right? Daily pivots, we lost the daily pivot on the. Now this is on the daily chart. Daily pivot 30,044. We've lost that. We're under that right now. 29. We're at 29,843, and so we could be seeing some of these downside targets get hit, right? And volatility right now is 4, almost 5. So we're relatively very, very low in volatility. So, because volatility is really low, we may not even see this break down significantly, right? We may just kind of fade in a sideways consolidation pattern. Okay. Now that being said, I said would we take a close look at AAVE. AAVE's pulling back just like Bitcoin. And I said this before, if Bitcoin pulls back, AAVE will pull back with Bitcoin. And that's what we see. Here on the daily, we see AAVE at the 200, and we're just below that breakout point on this diagonal resistance line, right? However, that's not really the important part. What's important is this yellow line. This yellow line coming in at 69.25. This is very important. If we hold it, then we will go sideways into consolidation and possible move higher after that. If Bitcoin goes lower, breaks the channel of consolidation that we were talking about earlier, then AAVE will then come down and start hitting these lower levels, right? So that being said, this whole entire structure is a Elliott wave 5-wave structure, and I'll show you this. This is exactly like Bitcoin, right? So you have the start point here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then coming back, right? That being said, if we do have a pullback, then if we break this $69.25 area, then we could be seeing a pullback possibly to the golden pocket, this fib right here, which is 62.62, or we could even come farther down to the point 0.7 fib, which is 56.46, if it's significant, if Bitcoin breaks significantly lower. Okay, so and this is the whole point. This is why I was saying you don't want to chase market hysteria. You don't want to chase these coins when they're putting in big moves to the upside, because they retrace, they come back down, and you don't want to get destroyed. So taking a look at AAVE, the statistics in the window here, we do see that the RSI is 51, slightly bullish. EMA trend still bullish. We have a nice spread here on the moving averages, and so our EMA trend is bullish, DMA trend bullish, and we are in contraction and reversal. And we have lost the daily pivot, and we've even lost the first support. Volatility is 22, and so let's take a look at our volatility mod and kind of see what this is telling us. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so here is that strong move to the upside. Okay, that is the power band to the upside, and then we did lose the move right around here, and then that's why we're coming right back down to that area. Currently on the daily, we are at the 200 moving average, which is significant. If we lose that, expect a bit more downside, because then that would be bearish. Volatility is in reversal, and so we're not going to see a significant move to the upside until this resets. And so volatility is dropping, and then that's why AAVE really isn't doing much. It's just kind of pulling back with Bitcoin, right? So, like I said, we need to hold above 69.25 to move for this breakout to be successful, and to move back up above this diagonal line, right? So it all depends on Bitcoin. Now, I did say in a previous video that some of these altcoins would or could be making moves to the 200 moving average. Now let me explain. Let me explain. What I was talking about here, let's use AAVE as an example. Now, if Bitcoin holds the trend, then you can see some of these coins moving up to the 200, right? If Bitcoin holds sideways consolidation and doesn't break down from where it's at now, because right now Bitcoin is at the 30 in a critical area. So that being said, if Bitcoin holds its consolidation range, some of these coins can move up and have moved up to hit the 200 moving average. And so that is where these coins have a lot of potential. But that's only, and I said this before in previous videos, if Bitcoin holds its consolidation range. And it looks like Bitcoin may not hold its consolidation range. So it looks like Bitcoin is starting to become weaker and starting to break the range, and starting to start its move to the downside, right? So if that's the case, then these previous opportunities I was talking to you about in previous video, the moves to the 200, now is no longer an option. So you need to understand that, right? When Bitcoin is pulling back, then the altcoins will then pull back to a greater degree, and so we need to understand that. Okay, so I just want to clarify that. So there you have it, friends. I don't want to make the video too long. Bitcoin is a little bit bearish lately over the past few days, and having some pullbacks. Let's see, it's been in pullback for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Last week has been into a pullback, and so we'll just have to wait and see how this last week plays out. Could have a significant move to the downside later in the week, or if we start pushing up from there, we'll maintain the range. So it's all about what happens later today and throughout the week, and then that will determine kind of where we go from there. Okay? So, thank you for watching, friends. I appreciate your viewership. Please click like if you would. Do me a big favor. It's going to help this channel. This channel is a new channel, as you can see, and your like is very important to the channel's growth, and it helps others like you see the video, see the channel, and see this information to help them in the markets. Right? Again, nothing I've said here is financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just sharing with you my uh, analysis of Bitcoin and different charts, and also to show you how the Cryptonian suite can be a valuable tool in your analysis. And that's what I'm using here today, is the Cryptonian suite up here. You can see that's the tools that I'm using for my analysis here, and it gives me all of the information that I need, all the information I truly need. Whether it's the Cryptonian volatility mod down here. This is a very important tool, by the way. Is very, very useful in seeing how these moves are strong in certain areas and then weak in other areas, and how it can help you see reversals and consolidation points, right? So anyway, there you have it, friends. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Take care.